great to see so many young people in our building. We've got a great program ahead of us here, and I'd like to kick things off by introducing Jennifer Poindexter, who serves as our Director of Promotion and Education. And please help me welcome Jennifer via Zoom.
Good morning, guys. It is great to see you guys meeting in person today. Like Blake said, I'm Jennifer Poindexter, Director of P&E here at Farm Bureau, and I'm also the coordinator for today's event. We have a great day planned for you, and it all starts off right here this morning at the home office, and later at the Capitol, and then back here for our program. But first, before we get started, I'd like to introduce to you Missouri Farm Bureau President Garrett Hawkins.
Good morning. How are we? Okay. Hopefully when I ask you that again later today, you're going to be even more fired up after going to Capitol. So it is so good. I mean, so good to have you in the building today. This is always an event that we look forward to, and it really is a privilege on behalf of the organization to welcome you. And obviously you had the chance to meet Jennifer via Zoom. She is our Promotion and Education Director and is phenomenal. And she, as she said, is the coordinator for today's event, along with Miss Julie Waldrop. Where is Julie? She may be out still in the lobby. Let's give them a hand for their work. I also want to recognize a very special group of people who help oversee this organization to make sure that we have the opportunity to continue to do events like this. So with us today are members of our State Board of Directors. So think about your elected school board at home and the role that they do in making sure that your schools are the best that they can be. Our State Board of Directors is the same. So Vice President Todd Hayes and members of our board, would you please stand, those of you who are here. There's Lane, there's Miss Dana Lane, yes, there's Stan, yes. I so very appreciate them. You'll also have the chance today to interact with members of our official staff that you'll hear from today, as well as our regional coordinators, and so this has been a team effort. But before we really get off to the Capitol this morning, it's a privilege to introduce someone who I consider to be a very close friend of mine. He and his wife Teresa farm just about 60 miles from us. I'm from Appleton City. They farm down at Bolivar. You know, we are fortunate that our 57th governor of the state of Missouri is a farmer. He's a veteran. He's a former sheriff and a staunch believer in law enforcement. He's been a state rep, a state senator, our lieutenant governor, and now he serves in our state's highest office. And I tell you what, he and his wife Teresa are as good as they get. They are so humble and grounded. We can talk cows and we can talk upcoming hay season, but if there's anyone that can motivate you this morning, it's our 57th governor. So please help me welcome to the stage Mr. Mike Parson.
Good morning, everyone. Y'all having fun? Man, what a nice day today in Missouri. Great day to be a farmer, right? Be learning about agriculture. I couldn't be more proud to be a governor of the state of Missouri, to come from where I came from. So I want every one of you young students to know that. I know you got some people mixed in here today with sponsors. To come from a little old town of 356 people, to grow up on that old farm where we milked cows and had hogs and had chickens, had a big garden, and my brothers. I tell you, it was the foundation for everything I've done to be here today. I think that's why I believe so much in agriculture. The roots of agriculture reaches far beyond just a farmer. I have to kind of learn to do that sometimes in this position. You know, sometimes I think about my grandpa, how he farmed, and how he grew up in an agriculture arena. I think of my mom and dad, the way they farmed. And I think of what I'm doing today. But then I also see my sons and my grandkids, and here's what I'll tell every one of you. The future of agriculture is on your shoulders, not mine as the governor. I got to do my part while I'm here in this position, But I tell you, agriculture will change. I can't farm like my grandpa did. And I can't farm like my dad did. As much as I'd like to say, sometimes I'd like to turn the clock back and say, let's settle down here a little bit and let's slow the pace down. But I'm telling you, we have to be better stewards of the land than we've ever been. We truly do. We have to understand how important land is and the environment is, because God's not going to make any more land. What we have is what we have. So you guys have got to be better producers, because demands are going to continue to go up. You got to understand how we take care of livestock, what row crop means, why Missouri's in the top 10 in commodities in the United States of America. The top 10. Almost every category is here in this state. And when I see you as young people that wants to get involved in some form of agriculture, or maybe someday you're not going to be involved in agriculture, but you're going to have the knowledge of what it takes to know what it's like to feed the world. You're going to be responsible for the technology that will change agriculture to even a better platform than it is today. You're going to have to understand math, you're going to have to understand science, and you're going to have to learn the technology side of it, besides being able to carry out a salt block, besides being able to bale a bale of hay. We used to joke, us old school farmers, and I see some of you farmers out there that's got a little gray hair like I do, so I'm going to talk to you for just a minute. You used to think you could fix anything with baling wire and a pair of pliers and a crescent wrench, as many of us toolboxes were. But today, you get on a tractor, you get on a baler like at our farm, and all of a sudden them codes start lighting up and all those things start saying, and you're thinking, what the world is that thing beeping about? You got to be able to fix those things. You got to be able to fix them out there. That's where technology comes from, and you got to be able to do that. I was in Springfield, Missouri yesterday. The Dar family up there, for you that are familiar with that, they've been great supporters of agriculture over their lifetimes. They just opened up a new education center for 4th, 5th, and 6th graders in Springfield, Missouri. And it's all surrounding to learn about agriculture, about why a plant is so important, why sunshine is so important. You know, all these things we take for granted every day, for us that kind of live this life a little bit. You know, the old sun comes up every day and it goes down and the rains come. But that's how the people of the world survive on those things of that nature, because that thing does come up every day, and we got to be able to be better stewards of that. When I look at the young people of today that I get to be around, I do get excited. You guys probably don't get the credit you deserve sometimes, because everybody thinks you're always on an iPhone, you're on computer games and all that stuff. But I tell you, there's a side of that, the education side of it. You're going to be able to do more than we've ever seen in this country, and you're going to be able to do more in the United States and more in the state of Missouri than we've ever seen before, because that opportunity is going to be there every day. But you got to tell the story. Now, in the 1950s, over half the people in this country were farm related. Now let that soak in for just a minute. Half the people in the United States of America was farm related. Somebody in their family was a farmer and knew about agriculture and could share that experience and share that stories. Do you know today less than 2% of the people in this country? Less than 2%. So when I tell you that burden is on your shoulders, I mean it is squarely on your shoulders. Somebody's got to go tell the story. And somebody's got to be honest to tell the story. And you got to fight against the people that want to misrepresent what it is we do. You know, that's out there every day. And that's why you got to have the education. It's why you got to be able to have the answers. It's why you wear those blue jackets, is to be able to be willing out there to say that. And I will tell you this. Farmers, for the most part, people in agriculture, for the most part, I will tell you, basically want to do what they love to do, and they want to be left alone. That's pretty well the way we grow up, and most of you understand that, and some of you do that. Today's world, you can't do that. Because if you're not out there talking about why it's so important what it is you do, and you can't justify why it is what you do, somebody out there is going to be telling you why it's a bad thing, and nobody's going to be out there to be able to tell our side of the story. That's why I think you guys are so important to be able to do that. And then I just think the reward you come with wearing the blue jackets, man, the fellowship you get out of there, what it's meant to you when you start looking back in school. There's not a day goes by, even sometimes, even at my age, somebody will ask about a blue jacket, what I do in high school. and I do have to stop and think about that because it was a long time ago. I will have to say that, but I think the importance of what you're doing and what you're trying to learn is what's great. I'm excited about Missouri. We're having some of the Missouri right now is just on the right track. I'm telling you. Just what we've been through over the last 2 years, you all know that, what you've been through in your home lives at home, what you've been through in the schools, what you're going through just every day, what we've been through to make us stronger. But life goes on. Life goes on, even in the middle of a pandemic. And I want to share a lot of you that's wearing those jackets today. I want to share this with you, too, that I'm so proud of. In the state of Missouri, I tried to let you, young men and women, make decisions for yourselves because I trust you to make the right decisions. It's not government's job to always tell us what to do. 95% of the schools in the state of Missouri over the last 2 years, 95% were in classroom settings where kids were going to school and kids were learning. And I thank all the people that stayed on the front lines to be able to do that and to keep you guys where you needed to be for your education on that. So for me, probably one of the very few governors in the state of Missouri that's an active farmer. The only governor in the state of Missouri, I guess I better back up on that one. Very few in the United States governors, and I've got to meet them all over the course of my time. There's hardly any active farmers that are governors in the United States. So every day I get to go up there and talk about Missouri, and somebody wants to either BS me about an ag issue, they're probably talking to the wrong guy if they're trying to pull the wool over my eyes a little bit. I've been around too long and understand it, but I'm proud of that. I'm so proud of that. I get to represent all you young men and women every day, all over across the state. And for me, for me and Teresa, I want all of you to know this. We've lived the American dream. My grandkids are you guys' age bracket now, but every day I go to work, it's about going to work for you. Not so much people like me anymore. We've built our lifetimes, we've experienced, but I want to make sure the American dream is available to every one of you that are here today. I want you to be able to feel what I've got to feel, what your parents have got to be able to do, because none of you would be here today if it wasn't for the people before you. And I will tell you, all the people that wore those blue jackets before you, that's the only reason you're here today wearing a blue jacket, because of what they did. So you're exposed to this. So when you talk about passing things down from generation to generations, the blue jacket is one of those most important things probably you're going to be able to do looking back in your lifetime, that you're going to understand you were ones that got to pass it down to the next generations. And I think that's what we all try to do, and why I get to do what I get to do every day. It is, and I can't thank Farm Bureau enough for everything they do, Garrett for everything he's doing, but just what Farm Bureau represents every day for us that we can't do it. So I want to thank them for having you all in here today. I want to thank them for what they do every day. And just want to tell you how much a privilege it is and how much an honor it is to be the 57th governor of the state of Missouri. God bless you, God bless Missouri, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you all for having me in here this morning. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Governor Parson. I know this is not an FFA event, but it wouldn't be a true Blue Jacket event to me if we didn't do a power clap for the governor. Everybody knows what a power clap is, right? All right, so we're going to do that on 3 for Governor Parson. 1, 2, 3. All right, great. So now we're excited. We're fired up. We are ready to go to the Capitol. So our goal for you today is to gain insight on the Missouri General Assembly. Farm Bureau has a grassroots legislative process that you're going to be learning about today. And today you're going to get to see how that process has a role in legislation that gets discussed over in the Missouri Capitol. Today, for the first time since 2019, we are happy to have you all here in person. Today, I'm pleased to report there are 360 students representing 58 counties from across the state of Missouri at our event today. I am pleased to turn it over next to Emily Leroy, who's our Senior Advisor for Missouri Farm Bureau, and Dan Ingeman, Director of Regulatory Affairs, to brief you on what you might be able to expect in the Capitol today.
Thank you, Spencer. It is an honor to be here with you all this morning. My name is Emily Leroy. Welcome to Jefferson City. I remember coming to this event as a high school student myself, and I can promise you it is a day well spent. So thank you for being engaged. Thank you for getting up early. I know some of you traveled a long way to be here with us. So I am going to get straight to some of the things that you need to know before you go to the Capitol. So first of all, let's do a recap of our civics lessons. We know that our legislative body in Missouri has two chambers. We have the House of Representatives and we have the Senate. So in the House, we have 163 members. In the Senate, you have 34 members. You are encouraged to go and visit your representative and your senator today. Hopefully some of you have reached out and made appointments. You'll be able to speak with them a little bit, ask questions. So what is it that you should be talking about? Anything that matters to you. Anything that you want to learn more about. So feel free to interact with them and go for it. Ask those questions that you talked about, hopefully on your way up here this morning. So it's a really busy time in the legislature right now. They are only have 5 weeks left of session. So session is really that period of time when they come together January through mid-May, and it's when they do a lot of their work. So it's a really hustle-bustle time. You're going to see people busy with committee hearings. You're going to see them taking a lot of votes on the floor, and it is a perfect day for you to be here in the legislature for ag issues. This is probably one of the busiest days for our Farm Bureau issues so far this session. So I'm going to recap 3 of our priorities for you right now. So one of those is legislation relating to property rights protections for landowners. That's House Bill 2005. So just this morning, that bill was voted out of the Senate committee. So the Senate Rules Committee heard that bill earlier on Tuesday. President Hawkins testified in support of it, saying, whenever utility lines are built across our state, we know that's important, but we want to make sure that farmers and ranchers and the landowners are protected in that. So we have some important protections put in place. So that's House Bill 2005, voted out of Senate committee this morning. Another issue for us this year has been broadband. We all know how important broadband is. We know you need it for education, for your parents to work. It is a necessity today. The Governor Parson, has put $400 million into his recommended budget, asking the legislature to support broadband development in our state. So today, in the House, they are going to be voting on all of the budget bills. So when you go to the House, you're going to see them taking a lot of procedural votes. And what they are doing is they are taking the last vote, putting their stamp of approval on what they have done with the budget, and sending it over to the Senate for the next few weeks to consider before they get together. They talk in what's called a conference, and they will decide the final budget for the year. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about really quickly is the Agriculture Omnibus Bill. So what's an omnibus? So you're going to hear that word a lot if you pay attention to legislation, and that's when you take multiple subjects and you lump them together to get more things done at one time. So omnibus. So that bill is House Bill 1720, and it contains a lot of things that Farm Bureau and other agriculture organizations have been working on for the last few years. We have some programs that support agricultural innovation, meat processors, ethanol, biodiesel, a lot of good things that are put into that. And so that it was passed out of the House already. It's been being considered by the Senate, and the Senate is going to most likely take their final vote on that bill today. So you'll probably get to see the Ag Omnibus Bill pass out of the Senate chamber today as well. So that it's a big day for us. So grateful to have you all here. Thank you for being engaged. Thank you for caring about the legislative process. And I'm going to hand it over to Dan with that to give you some additional insight for your time today.
Thanks, Emily. Good morning. Good to be with you all. Thanks for being here. I remember being in your shoes. I won't say how many years ago that was, but really helped spur my interest in politics and policy, and hopefully it does the same for you all today. Just a show of hands, how many of you all have been in the Capitol before? So quite a few. So you've been in the building, you're pretty familiar with it. I encourage you, even if you've been there before or your first time, take it all in. It's a beautiful building. Take time to look around. Just incredible. And I hope that you get inspired to serve, because Lord knows that we need good people in the House and Senate and statewide that understand agriculture like Governor Parson does. So hopefully some of you will step up and serve in those roles someday. Now just remember, it can be a little intimidating visiting with senators and representatives. Just remember they're all regular people with a title. So they all put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you did this morning. So just remember that. Be sure to address them as representative and senator. I know sometimes it gets confusing. You might want to call them congressmen, but our congressmen are in D.C. So here in Jefferson City, it's representative and senator. Just FYI, the Senate did work late last night till about 11:30, so you might have some tired people over on the Senate side of things. It's starting to get, as Emily said, to crunch time, so they're working late nights, so just be aware of that. Like Emily said, if you made appointments, you can get introduced on the House and Senate floor, hopefully. If you want to do that, work with the staff to get that done. Be kind to the staff. That's a really good way. Sometimes it's just as important to get to know the staff as the members themselves. I can say that with all affection because I was a Senate staffer a few short weeks ago. But ask questions. I would ask them, what's your biggest priority for this session? And more importantly, how can we help you? And then lastly, if I'm interested in serving in the legislature someday, how can I prepare now to make that a reality? So that's my advice, and have a good time this afternoon. Just have fun, enjoy it, and again, glad you're here. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you so much, Dan and Emily. I know that's really helpful insight as we get ready to head over to the Capitol this morning. Before we go, we just have a couple housekeeping items that we will need to take care of. So I know most of you raised your hands that you've been to the Capitol before, but if you haven't been or if you have forgotten, you will have to go through security when you get to the Capitol. So that means Leathermans, pocket knives, anything that may flag on a metal detector. We do ask that you leave that here at the home office. You're welcome to put it in your vehicle, or there will be an area at the registration desk where it will be secured the entire time you're gone. Ladies, if you have a purse or if anybody's carrying a backpack, that will be checked at security. So if you're comfortable with that, feel free to take it, but we do encourage you to leave anything that you can leave here or in your vehicle to speed up that security process. There are a lot of you, and there are not that many security checkpoints, so it could take a little bit to go through that process. Legislative session is actively going on, as Dan and Emily mentioned. You will be visiting with legislators or their staff, depending on their schedule. Please always be courteous. Each day brings new groups, new hearings, and new issues to the Capitol. So it's possible that you'll hear about a lot of different issues, even some that Dan and Emily did not mention. Before we get on the buses, here's a few quick reminders. Always turn off or silence your cell phones. I would encourage you to do that as soon as you get on the bus so you don't forget. Be sure to ask questions of the legislators and their staff. As Dan mentioned, you may want to have a job like theirs one day. Now is your opportunity to learn about that process and hopefully gain that insight. You're welcome to observe proceedings from the gallery of the House and Senate. Staff should be able to direct you where to enter and where to do that. A lot of legislators may assign staff to show you around the Capitol, and we'd encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity as well. As always, be patient, courteous, and respectful of those in the Capitol visiting as well as those in the Capitol working. Particularly when you're gathering in the hallway, because there are a lot of you, just be sure to stand to one side in the hallways or on the stairwells so that you're not interrupting the flow of traffic, because there will be a lot of people running around the Capitol today. You have 2 hours at the Capitol, so buses will be ready to go 2 hours from when they drop you off. So make the best of your time there. Most of you, as you know, are wearing official dress today, and your name is on the front and your chapter name is on the back. So remember that the actions that you portray in the Capitol reflect on you personally, and they reflect on your chapter and your county as well. So you want to be sure you're putting your best foot forward. We always get comments after this event about how respectful FFA members are when they visit the Capitol, and we want to continue that tradition this year. Once you get on the bus, this is going to be a very full, although very short, bus ride. The Capitol is only about a 10-minute drive away, but we need every seat filled on the bus. So I know you probably want to sit by your friends. Try to sit together as a group if you're able, but Please be sure there is someone in every seat, even if you are sitting by a stranger. The buses will pick you up exactly where they drop you off at noon on the dot. So please be back where they drop you off, be aware of your surroundings, and be there at noon or slightly before so that you can get back on the bus. It doesn't matter which bus you get on going there or coming back. Just as long as you get on a bus, we'll be sure you're back here safely. There are going to be a couple of Farm Bureau representatives on each bus if you have questions while you're in the Capitol or questions on the bus on the way. Those who are riding buses, would you all raise your hand so that we can see you, so that everybody knows who to look for? Okay, our regional coordinators, our field staff over here. They are going to stay with you while you're in the Capitol. They'll be in the coffee shop, which is on the lower level, and they'd be glad to assist you if you have questions while you're there.